Hey, thank you once again for joining a moment of analysis, a Cincinnati Bearcat podcast. Today it's just going to be me by myself. It's a solo game today. Matt is not available, and so it's going to be me from my perspective. I'm a former football coach. I don't do what Matt does. He's an analytics guy, and so you're going to get my point of view from that perspective. And so, today it's not going to be a long episode. I'm not going to really drag this out. What I'm going to do is pretty much just I'm going to slightly go over uh, the Kennesaw State game, and then we can talk about Miami and see what that game is going to bring. I was watching the Kennesaw State game, and uh, the Bearcats won 63-10, and we was hoping, everyone was hoping that is how this Bearcats team would bounce back. Uh, Nobody was sure too much how many points the Bearcats would score, only because this Kennesaw State is a what is it, a option team for the most part, a triple option team, and that is always a hard team to score against, only because the way that they move, it's essentially 3 yards in a cloud of dust, um, a lot of ball fakes, and that type of thing. Just trying to, it usually is a scheme to try to uh, make up for a lack of, I won't say a lack of talent, but a lack of uh, honestly, big men typically. Some triple option teams have a lot of athletes, but they don't have a lot of size, and so they kind of go with that triple option, which allows for cut blocks and all that type of thing. Things that aren't I don't really, I've never been a fan of, but other teams make use of to kind of supplement for the things that they lack on their team. So Kennesaw State ran a triple option, and here's the thing: to score 63 points on a triple option team is hard to do, just by nature of the way that the triple option operates. Uh, and Cincinnati was able to do that. Ben Bryant, the quarterback that everybody was kind of looking at like he did not step up when he was supposed to in the Arkansas game. He came around that second half of the Arkansas game and really stepped up and did his thing. But that first half, he missed three or four throws that he could have had that could have put Cincinnati in the lead, gave Cincinnati an opportunity to beat Arkansas. So he came back around against Kennesaw State, and he threw 16 of 19 um, for 201 yards, and that's what you want to see when you have a player that seemed to have missed big plays, and he didn't really struggle the first game in general. In the general scope of the first game against Arkansas, he didn't struggle. Especially in the second half, he came back real strong in the second half. Um, I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but I know that he threw for 200 some yards in the second half. What was it? Two touchdowns, three touchdowns, something like that. Two touchdowns, I believe. Yeah, two touchdowns because Corey Kiner had a touchdown, and he did really well. It was just that first half that he really, had kind of didn't wasn't able to get it together. And so we're looking at this, and he came back through for 16 of 19 for 201 yards, had a 10.6 yard average, and three touchdowns. And that's what you want. That's always what you look for. Like you're like, how will you rebound that next game after coming short that first game? This is for the whole team, right? But the quarterback, because when you lose in the fashion that this team lost, and you see that you had ample opportunities to put the team on top, almost single-handedly, right? And you missed out on those. You have to understand, like, okay, I can't let this weigh down on me. I have to rebound. I have to come back. I have to do better the next game. And Ben Bryant was able to kind of just let that go and come back that next game, and he did really well. Uh, Miles Montgomery had 5 carries for 104 yards. I believe 76 of those came in the what was it, the fourth quarter when everybody was out. But still, for Miles to bounce back because he did have a fumble in the game. Uh, it was a bad fumble, and he had one in the game. But he came back and was able to score a touchdown, 76 yards. The person I'm really looking at right now is Charles McClellan. Charles McClellan did a really good job this game. He had 10 carries for 66 yards. Obviously, the 6.6 yards a carry, but but he came back after multiple injuries to serious ligaments in his legs, and he was able to bounce back and really be able to perform. Like you seen sparks of it against in Arkansas. He couldn't quite, like you seen a burst, but it wasn't quite like hitting the way that he wanted it to. In this game, he was able to see that burst, those outside runs. Sometimes like he plants his foot, and he's 4 or 5 yards up the field. It's something to see. And he had a shoestring tackle that probably would have been a touchdown. Uh, and it was just you look at it and you're happy. You just get happy for the man because after all the anguish, after all the struggle, after everything he's been through to try to come back and being sidelined for 2 years, you know. And then last year you had James Ford, no James Ford, but you had Ford, Jared Ford, uh, and he was a home run hitter. You didn't have to really use Charles, Chuck, and so um, he came around and he was kind of able to show what he could do. We have Corey Kiner who had 5.6 yards a carry, 7 carries for 39 yards. So that's a good 1-2 punch. Corey don't have that breakaway speed, but Corey has really good balance, good vision. He's not big, but he's hard to bring down, and that's a good 1-2 punch between him and McClellan. And with Ryan Montgomery going down and being gone for a few weeks, that's going to be a really good opportunity for them to carry the load and really show what they can do while he's gone. And that way, you can kind of get a rhythm going. And they're good backs. Like that's the truth. You have Miles Montgomery, who is capable. He's just young, and he need to get the feel for the game. Like running in practice is different than running in the game. The game speed is different. It just is. And so once you get out of practice, you're not really getting hit like that, and then you go into uh, you know, you go into the game, it's just things are moving faster. You're trying to do what you did in practice, it doesn't work. Not as easy. So you got to get used to the game speed. Things need to slow down for you. You got to kind of understand what's happening around you. Defenses are different, personnels are different. The things you got used to in practice with the speed of the people you're going against is different. And not to say that like you just get acclimated to the people. Like that's just the truth. And some people it comes easy. Some people it just comes easy. Like they go from practice to the game, and it comes to them. It's nature. And some people have to get used to it. And from what I'm seeing is Miles seems to be one of those people who have to get used to it. But you can see the skill set. You can see the ability in Miles Montgomery. Um, and you just hope that once it clicks for him, once he sees the holes that are there, once he sees how to move and the moves to make, right, it will click for him. He'll be there. So that's what we're looking at, and so he did really good. Um, you know, one thing I was looking at when I was watching the Kennesaw State game was Preston Daniels. Now I will say this: I used to be a running back, okay, running back, fullback back in my day. All right, and I was a running back coach. And looking at Preston Daniels, I was really, I'm like, I like this dude only probably because he reminded me of myself. We're about the same height. He played a bit bigger than I did, but similar styles. Uh, and so I ain't gonna lie, I kind of look at Preston Daniels like I like this guy. Preston Daniels is the running back fullback for Kennesaw State. He had only 2.8 yards carry, which is actually really good because he weighed 255 pounds. Which means you know you had the Godfather and and who we got here? Just Dante Corleone and Juwan Briggs did a really good job with their spots and manning that middle because that's what you want to do. You want to be able to stop with them, and they was able to stop a 255-pound man. Okay, running up that middle with that football. He's not a slow guy. He had a couple of good runs, but for the most part, 2.8 yards a carry. They held him under 150 yards. I think in 70 something games. Um, which is something that's really hard to do for triple option team. I don't care what level they're at. This is an FCS school. I don't care what level you're at. If you can hold a triple option team to less than 150 yards, then you're doing something right. Uh, they used two different quarterbacks. Kennesaw State did. They tried to do a lot of outside runs. I was bottled up, and I want to say that I am very happy. Ivan Pace is a menace. We talked about that before. He's a problem, and we talked about Deshaun Pace being a menace. He only had 3 tackles this game, but I believe that he has it in him to bounce back. And I don't know if the different personnel and the style of play of the new personnel is not meshing well with this Sean Pace game, but he seemed to kind of bounce back a little bit this game. Ivan Pace had 11 tackles. He's a menace. He's a problem. He is causing a disruption and mayhem in everybody's offense, and I'm very happy to see that. And speaking of, we'll get to Ivan Pace later in this whole Miami thing, but you had Jaheim Thomas coming in with the 9 tackles. He was also causing mayhem. He was a problem as well. We have Javon Hicks with his first pick six after eight interceptions or turnovers. I don't know interceptions. I don't, but he finally got a touchdown after 4 or 5 years of you know, and that's something you're happy to see. You happy to see that no matter what, like the DBs aren't left for dead. The DBs, even with the exodus of talent, they still have the capability to do what they need to do for the most part. Yes, this is a triple option team. Yes, the quarterback isn't a quarterback who should be throwing or is great at throwing. You kind of throw those ducks up there, and then you have the wide receivers who are used to the ducks. But like, here's the thing I tell people all the time: when you have a quarterback who throws the ball in not a great way, it throws DBs off because DBs are taught to be in a certain position in a certain way, and the ball's gonna be in a certain place, right? Like you have to be prepared. You can't be too short. You try to stay on your man. DBs are taught all these things, and then when you have a quarterback who's not a great thrower, it kind of throws off your timing and your rhythm as a DB. But the receivers that work with these quarterbacks work with them for all the time. And so when the ball's a crazy throw and nobody knows what's happening, like why the ball looks and I don't know how that pass got off that way. The receivers prepared for the crazy pass, so they catching and DBs don't know what's happening. And that's why, like, a lot of times you see these, like, almost like crazy catches and throws, and they gaining yards off of passes because one, nobody's expecting the pass, and two, nobody is prepared for the type of pass that is coming their way. You just don't train. Nobody's gonna train their DBs to be prepared for bad passes, and so they will get some of those off just because it's the nature of how things work. But this defense did really good. Marion Smith, he came in that second half and was laying hits. That's what everybody was talking about. Marion Smith should be a really good DB or safety. You know, I I don't know. You get some of the some of the things that come to you, and you hear names coming out sometimes, and you are glad to see that Amarion Smith, he's got nice size. He got a hat that he likes to lay. So it looks like between Amarion and let's see here, and Brian Threats, it looked like we got safeties who like to hit and they just want to hit, and that's really their goal in life is to hit people. I don't know if that's great for coverage, but it is good for football in general sense, I guess. Um, Jabari Teller did really good, 5 tackles. I'm not gonna go through everybody, but I'm just happy to see the way that this team stepped up and the way that they were able to do the things that was necessary to rebound after a game like Arkansas, a game they could have won, but they kind of fell short to do. That's one of the hardest games to get past. Like I tell people all the time, getting blown out is getting blown out. You just accept it, you move along, and you just go forward. Right? When you get blown out, it's kind of one of those things. Like sometimes stuff happens. You just do it happens. Things happen, We ain't have a chance. It is what it is, and you move on, right? You work to get better. When you lose the way Cincinnati lost against Arkansas, you don't just move on. You don't just like it's like you're going to get better, but that one stings. It hurts because we had a chance. We know we could have played better. We know we could have done better, and we didn't do better. And so, this team came out like we didn't do better. We didn't do as well as we could have done. We needed to do better, and we will do better this next game. Let's be who we are. And they showed who they are. They scored 3 points on a triple option team. You just don't see that. The possessions are never enough for that to happen, which means they scored on just about every possession they touched. Because honestly, Kennesaw State still won the time of possession. They still won the time of possession. Um, let's see if I can figure this out here. Um, Time of possession 38:08 for Kennesaw State and 21:52. That means that Cincinnati was scoring, and they had two defensive touchdowns, which really helped. Um, let's see, Jabari Taylor ran one back after a strip by Evan Pace, and and like I said, the Hicks interception return. Trey Tucker didn't play a lot. I don't know exactly what's going on with him. We have heard that Will Pauling is out, as well as Malik Van, and that one's really hurts because Malik Van is one of those guys who came in and decided to take a chance on UC when you don't really know what the future held, right? You just kind of coming in off of a whim, hoping for the best, listening to the coach and be like, I believe in this man. And Malik Van was one of those guys to come in because he believed in what was going on here at Cincinnati before Cincinnati really showed any proof. Um, you know, and Cincinnati had that 11. You bounce back from a 4-8 and you go, what was it, 11-2, I believe, something like that, 11-3 that next year, and then Malik Van commits, you know, and it's one of those things where he commits with Josh Wow, Leonard Taylor. That whole class comes together and come in, and it's like this class came in knowing that the team might be good enough, but that 1 year after a 4-8 season could be a fluke. You don't know what's going on. You just coming in thinking like there's an opportunity or there might be a real chance. And he came in, he did his thing. He had finally had an opportunity. He got hurt both times. He waited for his time, and he got hurt both years. High ankle sprain last year, and that really limited his ability. And he tore his pectoral muscle. So it's unfortunate. I hope he gets better. I hope he got a year left. It's hard to come back. It's hard after an injury. You just get tired. And some people have the mental fortitude, but sometimes when you in school that long and that much training and just wanting to move on with life, sometimes moving on with life is a is hard to deny. Just like I'm ready to just move on to my next stage in life because I'm tired. This is hard. And it's not about mental fortitude. It's not about sometimes it's just about things aren't happening the way that they need to and you get tired and you're like, I can't do this anymore. That pain. Like football is painful. I think a lot of people don't understand that football is painful. You always aches and pains and you just kind of learn to deal with them. You kind of learn to, you know, just live through it. And imagine doing that and never really progressing. Right? Imagine just living through that pain, those aches, torn muscles, messed up ligaments, sprains, and it's just never ending. And you're just like, I just want to be healthy. I just want to be healthy. And sometimes that overrides anything else you got going on. So I hope he comes around. I hope he's get better. I hope if he decides to move on, whatever his next stop in life is, is a blessing for him. Uh, you know, and I really hope greatness happens for him as far as you know, and that's really where I'm at on that one now. Um, we have Mulaney, who I never really heard of, need to step up. I don't know much about him. He did really well. He had 4 tackles the last game, but in that the game. And hope you might take a look at Rob Jackson, who is also someone who is built really well, but seemingly have not taken that step as quickly as everybody expected. You have Justin Watley uh, and Noah Potter. Those people. So we have people who can step in, but this is going to challenge things a little bit. Challenge that, what does this team look like this year? Who is this team? How will they operate? Because the D line was a strong space. The D line still a strong space for them. They still have a strong front, right? With the Juwan Briggs and Jabari Taylor is still strong. Whoever the end's going to be, I still believe they can step in. Now, who's behind them and how that's going to work? So that's what we really need to look at for this next game and how that is going to move. Linebackers be linebacker, and they're going to be linebackering. Uh, you have Jaheim Thomas, you have Ivan Pace. They're going to do their thing. You know, um, you know, and Wilson. You got Wilson Huber still, Ty Van Foss, and everybody going to step up and kind of, we're going to need them because they're definitely going to need our linebackers even more with this injury. So yeah, the Kennesaw State game. We got out of there with a couple of injuries. Um, None of it was due to chop blocking. Thank you. But it was mainly due just things happen. This is true. Things happen, and so we were really looking at our receivers as well. Mm. Will Pauling was a huge loss. Who's going to, and like I said, I don't know what's going on with Trey Tucker. So whoever going to take that slot position is really, you need to really. We'll see. They had Jaden Thompson, who actually was our leading receiver in that slot position a bit much once Willing went out, or Will Pauling went out. Not Willing, Will Pauling, excuse me. Um, let's see. And they might, we don't know. Tyler Scott has the build for slot, but he's so dynamic. There's no telling. Shaman Mateer, he got in. That boy is a monster. Let me tell y'all something about Shaman Mateer. He's a monster. That boy got in. He looked terrifying. He was fast. He was big. He was physical. He pancaked somebody. Cause let me tell you something. Evan Prater got in, and he did an amazing job. The man went 4 or 5 for 92 yards. He had this. He was taking bad snaps and throwing darts. He was running to his right and throwing, accurate passes, right? Like the man was playing like he truly knew how to play football. And something you question, like, okay, how is this man looking? Because nobody seems to want him to start. We don't know what's going on. And I'm not saying he should start over Ben Bryant. I'm just saying how you kind of take the optics of it all, right? And he went and he played his butt off. He had a 40-yard touchdown where Shamar Mateer pancaked him, and Blue Smith took people off their feet, and it was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful play, and I'm gonna get into something real quick, but let me get into my coaching soliloquy. Watching this team makes me realize how much the offense was built around the talent that they had when they built the offense. You build an offense to complement what you have. So the offense was built around a bit around Desmond Ritter, who is a running quarterback, and Desmond Ritter was you know he had plays that worked for him, and so now you have Ben Bryant, who is somewhat athletic, but I mean he's not a statue in the pocket. Let's say that, but he's not a runner. He's not going to get you any big gains if he runs. He's not going to be anything exciting if he runs. And when Ben Bryant is running these plays, right? When Ben Bryant is running these plays, you have these plays where it's like that you would run with Desmond Ritter and they won't be as successful because Ben Bryant they are made for a quarterback who will run. Like there's this run pass option situation like this kind of drift play where the quarterback will take you know and kind of float out with the tight end. Now he has a choice to either pass it to the tight end in the flat or run it himself. Now this is a play that Evan Prater ran for 40 yards, right? But if when Ben Bryant does it, tight end gets no yards because this play isn't designed to be a flat out pass to the tight ends. It's a play to throw off the the linebackers in the secondary. It's a play to make everybody have to think when there's nothing to think about because you don't have a running quarterback. It doesn't work. And the running offense for UC does have a lot predicate a lot off off a lot of the quarterback running aspects, right? There's nothing that's throwing making the linebackers have to hesitate, and so everybody's just crashing. It's an inside zone, so you try to run to the outside more. So you do a little bit of that, but when you're in the inside zone, everybody crash. Now everybody gonna keep crashing. You have to run this play because you have to make people think about it. You have to. You can't stop running this play because the moment you do, everybody gonna start paying attention to everything else you're doing. So this is your setup play, inside zone, inside zone, inside zone. You used to be able to get 3 or 4 yards off of it. You don't really get that anymore because you know um, because you don't have the run option on that where the quarterback can take it. You know the read option. You don't have the read option with that anymore. And so, you might want to implement something where it is a run pass option where you can take it and do a quick tight end seam or slant, or even a cross, something quick, something that you can just get the ball out real quick when you read that the linebackers are crashing. That way they have to double take and watch out for something. Something needs to be there to make them hesitate, to make them not be so quick, not be so confident in crashing. And there's nothing there right now. So I'm sure they'll implement that. We need to see more Trey Tucker. Like I said, I don't know what happened to him, so we'll see if they implement more Trey Tucker in the Miami game. Uh, what else? They didn't do a lot of deep passes this game because Kennesaw State was kind of playing deep, 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 cover two, high man, all those things. So we'll see what Miami decides to do this game. Cincinnati used to be really good at taking with the offense. Used to be really good at taking last year at least was really good at taking what the defense gave them. We'll see if they can get better at that. But the thing about that is you have to have a good, confident. And not saying Ben Bryant, but he this is his first time really manning this offense as the main person. And so we'll see how Ben Bryant takes it and see if he can finally get to that point where he's just so comfortable that if y'all give him 5 yards a pass, he'll just keep taking it and don't make no mistakes and be able to score a touchdown. So we'll see how that goes. Miami is Miami, honestly. The series is tied at 59-59 right now. Cincinnati can take the lead with this. Miami has played um, Kentucky and some FCS team that I don't remember the name of because I don't. Yeah. So uh, here's the thing: Brett Gabbert got hurt, and Avion Smith is the quarterback. He's an athletic quarterback. He did pretty good in the last game. Let me see what team Miami played. Um, Miami played. Give me a second here. I'm gonna get it here real quick because I want to know. Um I just can't remember who it was off the top of my head. So da 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 da. Let's see here because I really want to get this name. So Miami played Robert Morris. That's interesting. Robert Morris and Avion Smith played pretty good. Now I was reading something where the head coach um, Martin. Give me a second here. My brain just. Hey y'all. Sometimes you ever just have like your brain just. Yeah, Martin. Your brain just. Your brain just kind of stop. Chuck Martin. There we go. Your brain just stopped operating on you. Anyway, so Chuck Martin. asked his quarterback Avion Smith, like, how did you feel after this game? Did you hurt at all? You know, Avion Smith was like, no, no, I'm fine. He was like, I'm gonna ask you that same question next game. See how you feel. You know, it's one of those things where Chuck Martin knows what he's getting into when he plays Cincinnati. And Luke Fickle has Cincinnati, that type of team that just want to hit you in the mouth over and over and over again. That's just their goal. That's their ambition, right? They want to win, but if they can win by hitting you in the mouth, it's that much better. That's that's how Luke Fickle want them to play. He want them to play tough and rugged, be a tad bit disrespectful, in the positive way, disrespectful in a way that you know is still respectful, disrespectfully respectful, respectfully disrespectful. One of those ways, right? And so you have Martin who's coming in and he's saying a lot of things. He's giving Cincinnati good praise, but he also saying some things that he's not happy with. Like Ivan Pace going to Miami, I will say this. I don't think Cincinnati necessarily stole Ivan Pace. I think Ivan Pace decided to say, "Hey, I want to go play with my brother." And Cincinnati said, "Sure." So that's where I'm at. I don't know the real story behind that. That's just my rose-colored glasses behind that scenario. I don't um, have anything else. They played really good against Kentucky. It was 10-16 at halftime until Kentucky ran back a kickoff return, the first kick of the second half. So, uh, one of those things where you don't know if things went a little bit differently. If they would have done things a little differently, they had a punt blocked. So they're gonna really have to get their special teams together. Because Cincinnati special teams are not bad. Cincinnati special teams are actually a positive aspect of the offense. So I mean, the offense, but of the team. So, you know, if they don't get it together, it might be a long day on special teams for Miami. Uh, they have a slew of running backs, um, and none of them are uh, excessively good. You have Kenyon. Keon Mosey, who's 5'7", 179 pounds. He had 80 yards on the Bearcats on 15 carries last year. So it's one of those things where Cincinnati's running offense last year was not great. I mean, mainly because it was a team built for speed and not for really and not on size. And so although there was adequate size, it was mainly like it was adequate size as far as height, but weight it was a speed thing. It was a speed team. They wanted to sack the quarterback. They wanted to stop the pass. They'll deal with running yards as they come. And so 80 yards on 15 carries last year. I mean, a lot of teams kind of did that to the Cincinnati team, uh, but Cincinnati still beat them handedly. The wide receiver Mac Hippenhammer is a top threat through the air. Uh, he don't have anything. There's nothing really great going on. I don't really feel too uncomfortable with this game. I know that Martin's gonna come out this game different than he did last year. I won't say that he tried to um, he set players for the game. I think they got hit in the mouth really fast, and he kind of just was like, "Well, there it is." Right? I think he came in wanting to win, right? Because Gabbert was just hurt previous to this game. Like not just hurt, but he was hurt, and there's no reason to rush him back for this game. Not against this Cincinnati team that's so aggressive. But I still think he came in to win. I think the score went up 21-0 so fast that it was kind of one of those things where, like, I could try to fight to come back, but this team is so fast and so big and so good. There's no sense in potentially getting more players injured. So I'm gonna go ahead and let them have this one. And we're gonna try to come back and win the MAC. That I mean, and that makes sense. Like from us coaches, like when you come into a game and you like, okay, we gonna see what happens, right? Because that's what you're gonna you see the tapes, you see the speed, you see the talent, but you come in like, let's see what happened. Hey, I'm gonna put you in that quarterback, you gonna see what happened. And you go in there and then you're down 21-0 in the first quarter, and it's like, I tried. Like we seen what happened. This is what happened. So we can go ahead and I don't want all y'all to get hurt. So, and it's one of those things where you set some of your best players. You just do. You save them because you still gotta win a championship and the conference that you're in. There's no reason to sit out here and be like and potentially ruin the season for yourself trying to win a game against this team that you didn't really have a chance against. So I understood, his point of view on that. Um, and they here's the truth. Miami does have you always have a chance in any football game that you play. You look at App State, you look at Marshall. You always have a chance to win any game you play. So I'm not gonna sit here and say Miami don't have a chance because they absolutely do. I believe anybody have a chance to win any game that they play. That's just there's not, nothing is impossible, right? Cincinnati obviously has the advantage here. The Cincinnati come and play the way that they played against Arkansas State and play their game and play how they can play for themselves, they're going to win the game. If they come out and play like they did against Arkansas, it's going to be a close game. They're going to give Miami a chance. They have to play strong. They have to be physical. They have to play fast. They have to be willing to potentially, if you never know. Maybe they'll put Evan Prater on the field for a few plays and get that going. You don't know. Give teams something to think about, right, in this game. Because you got Indiana coming up. Give Indiana some things to think about. Give Indiana some things to prepare for. Right? This is a game you can do that in. And you want to get Corey Kiner some carries. You want to make McClellan get him to that next level that he can get to, make him even more comfortable. Give him the ball. Let him be the back. Let Kiner come in and beat him down, and give McClellan some confidence. Chuck some confidence by let him come in after Kiner beat down the offense a little bit and see what happens. Let him get his burst. Let him get his whatever next thing is going to happen. Uh, see, we got to look at the decent line, see how they play without Van. I think they'll still be. I think they'll be fine. I do. I personally think they'll be okay. But you just don't know because you don't know what's behind until you know. And they're about to play a standard offense. This is about to be a different offense. It's about to be more standard. They're going. It's not the Arkansas read option. Run your 260-pound quarterback down people's throat. It's not going to be a triple option. This is going to be a you know a fairly athletic quarterback who played decently, who obviously can throw the football, but it's going to be typical. So let's see how our DBs play. Can they step up? I know that I know that da, 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 Sammy Anderson played all right, but the one I'm really looking at is do, 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 what's his name? He's not on here. It's the other corner. Give me a second here. I it's late, y'all. I'm struggling. I'm struggling today. I'm gonna get it together. I'm gonna get it together. Um, I'm struggling, but the other like, of course we need Bush, right? We need Bush to be strong, and because it's one of those things where I haven't seen him yet be really out of place or anything. Even against Arkansas, I haven't seen nothing too crazy from him. He seems to be doing the things that he need to be doing. Arquan Bush, right, is pretty strong, right, in the space that he's been in so far, right. He hasn't really given nothing crazy up, and that's really what you want out of your DBs. Just he's doing his thing, like so far. And once he get to these more pass happy uh, teams, you have to look and see, hey, will he be able to keep it up? You know, and then um, Sammy Anderson. Um, I don't think that's who it is. Well, yeah. So, uh, say. But anyway, yeah, once my brain start working again, we'll definitely uh, get back to the DBs. But no, and if the top linebackers, the one I want to see, linebacker I want to see really step up, and I have to see him step up. He has to, or he probably need to be replaced. Honestly, is Wilson Huber. Wilson Huber only had two tackles. He only had two tackles. Um, and Tyvin Boston hasn't really been himself either. At least from what I'm. So I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't know if Ivan Pace is just that much of a menace and getting things, seeing things so much faster, and getting things, or are they just not comfortable in their space yet? Right? I'm really trying to figure out what's going on there and why. Um, Jaquan Shepard, Jaquan Shepard, the other corner. There we go. But anyway, are they not comfortable with what they're doing? And do they need to, you know, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I really need those two to step up and really play the game that they can play because this defense really needs it. And Jaquan Shepard looks really good. So I want to see, just keep doing their thing. I'm gonna see how this line continue to mesh and mold. I want to just hope that everything works out well. And yeah, so the game's gonna come up. It's on Saturday at noon. At Paycor Stadium, Bob Brown Paycor, whatever. And we'll see how it goes. I really look forward to seeing this game. I think they can be successful and they can do really well if things if they just play the game they can play and be themselves and don't try to do too much and don't try to play outside of their skill set and their capabilities because they're talented. They're talented enough to be really good, and I don't see why they shouldn't be. And they recruited well, and even with the losses, they should still do really well. So yeah, um, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for listening to a moment of analysis. Hopefully Matt will be back with me next time. We'll see how things go, and thank you. Have a great evening.